Listen up. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the podcast participants, and not to any participant's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. You know, for fun. So lighten up and enjoy. Well, hello everybody. This is your pal, Sawtooth Frank, and you're listening to the Soft Serve podcast. On this episode, I am going to read you an essay that I wrote about the closing of a local restaurant, a Jewish deli. And I will tell you all more about this after the intro music. The Soft Serve Podcast.
You're a loser, a scumbag, lower than scum. You are a absolute zero. Absolute zero. Lower than scum. A scumbag. Absolute zero.
Absolute zero. Oh, yeah.
Lower than scum.
A scumbag.
Absolute zero.
Absolute zero. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, that felt good coming in over that intro music. Maybe I finally figured it out. How to come in on my own intro music. I never came in on my own intro music before, but I just did it perfectly right now. I've tried to come in on my own intro music before. Anyways, I'm Sawtooth Frank, as they say, and this is the Soft Serve Podcast, Absolute Zero Edition. And as you've probably gathered, Stomping Jen, my co-host, is not here because this is a Absolute Zero Edition. If you don't know what that means, if this is the first time you're listening to the show, you can go back a couple of episodes and look for the one that is the first Absolute Zero Edition, and I tell you all about what that means exactly. But I'm not going to waste time doing that now. And on this episode, I am going to read you an essay that I wrote about the closing of a local Jewish deli. So this episode is publishing on December 17th, 2025. And this Jewish deli closed its doors on December 14th, 2025. So just a few days ago. And they actually closed on the first night of Hanukkah. I don't think that's particularly relevant, but I'm just mentioning it. And, you know, I think we all know restaurants open, restaurants close, often without a lot of fanfare. But when this place closed, this Jewish deli, which I'm not going to name, and I will tell you why when I get into the reading of my essay. When this place closed, there were a number of reactions and comments that left me totally baffled and that I didn't agree with based on my experience dining at this Jewish deli. And so I'm going to tell you all about that right now, and I'm going to read you the essay. Okay? Bear with me. This is a long one, but I hope you enjoy this because I think I have some unique insights into why this place closed and maybe what the next Jewish deli that attempts to open in Northampton could do differently or do better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read you this essay now. Okay? Here we go. Geshlossen on the closing of a Jewish deli. After less than 6 months in business, a Western Massachusetts Jewish deli in the town of Northampton has closed its doors permanently. Out of respect for the proprietors and the patrons who love this restaurant, I'm not going to name the establishment. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you can find out by Googling. Besides, the name of the place isn't important. This is not Schadenfreude. I'm not trying to be mean. When I heard the news about this deli shuttering, I was very sad, but I wasn't surprised. I saw this coming months ago. First and foremost, let me start by being real clear. I hate to see any business and business owners not succeed, including this Northampton Jewish deli. Our cities and towns need homegrown restaurants, started and run by locals. I am truly sad to see this restaurant closing. I wanted it to succeed. I wanted to love it. I know hindsight is 20/20, but the first time I walked through the door of this Jewish deli and got food, I said to myself, this place is going to close within a year. Before I start explaining why I felt this way, I want to be really clear and say that if you liked the deli and enjoyed their food, for any reason, this is wonderful. I am happy that you enjoyed it. This is not the case for me. My thoughts are not intended to diminish your experience and take anything away from you. We're the folks who started and have now closed this establishment. Besides, what does a Gentile like me know about Jewish food anyway? Okay, on to why I am not surprised that this restaurant closed so quickly. Whatever je ne sais quoi that authentic Jewish delis possess that make them Jewish delis, the Northampton Jewish deli that closed didn't have it. 30 years ago, I wormed my way into Stomping Jen's life and immediate and extended family, who are mostly Jews from New York City. My father-in-law's parents were old-school Jewish butchers from the Bronx who made gefilte fish and white fish spread from live fish they kept in their bathtub. They supplied families in Jewish delis with all the meats. My father-in-law knows New York Jewish food and has instilled in me over the years a deep respect for the culinary traditions of the Jewish people. At one of the very first Passover Seders I attended, my father-in-law saw me picking at and not eating my food and scolded me. If you're going to be part of this family, you're going to have to learn to eat. Over the decades, In addition to Passover Seders, I've experienced and delighted in Jewish food through Shabbat dinners, bar and bat mitzvahs, Hanukkahs, Purims, baby namings, weddings, funerals, regular family meals, and so on. All the gatherings. I admit, this does not make me an expert on Jewish food. However, I've been around it for more than 30 years, so I feel like I know something about it, and I know it when I see it. Let's dive down into the particulars. Remember, these are just my opinions about the closed Jewish deli. If you feel differently, God bless you. All right. If a Jewish deli can't get New York-style bagels right, why even open? The closed deli had terrible bagels. Flat, dry, and cold. Everything a New York bagel should not be. Which is voluminous, moist from boiling, and warm. Those are the characteristics a Jewish bagel should possess. I don't know where this place got their bagels. I'm pretty sure they didn't make them at the establishment, but they were not New York-style bagels. I know New York bagels. My chest freezer at home currently contains 24 or more of them. Whenever Stomping Jen and I go to New Jersey to visit family, we stop at a bagel store and load up, sometimes with 24 or more. When my brother-in-law comes up from New Jersey, he brings us bagels, dozens of them. My point here is I've eaten a lot of bagels from New York and New Jersey. They are special. Some folks claim there's something in the New York and New Jersey water that makes them unlike bagels made elsewhere. I don't know about this, but I do know the way they are cooked makes them special. Most importantly, they're boiled, which imparts to them unique characteristics that can't be achieved by other methods of cooking, like baking. If you're going to serve bagels in a Jewish deli, they must be boiled, like New York-style bagels. If you can't produce and boil bagels in your store, then find a bagel producer who can. To the best of my knowledge, obtained from information available on its website, the Jewish deli that closed its doors served bagels that were baked, not boiled. If you can't find a bagel producer who boils their bagels, then you need to have them shipped from New York City to your restaurant. This is critical and non-negotiable. Anyone who has ever had a real New York City-style bagel and is expecting to be served one in a Jewish deli is going to be disappointed by a baked bagel. Disappointed customers do not lead to repeat business. Another way to disappoint people is by straying too far outside of tradition. Like many other cultures and religions, a bedrock of Judaism is tradition, which includes its culinary history. From the unleavened bread that Jews were forced to eat when fleeing Egypt 3,000 years ago, to whitefish, knishes, latkes, sour pickles, kugel, and matzo ball soups, made and served in Jewish homes and delis, you've got to nail the traditional Jewish foods if you want to run a thriving Jewish deli. If you've been listening to this podcast for the last 5 years and 200 plus episodes, you'll know I consider myself a progressive. For good or bad, tradition, by definition, resists progress. The Jewish deli that closed, unfortunately, was too progressive for the culinary traditions against which it was invariably measured. A review of their menu shows a number of vegan versions of traditional Jewish foods, including cream cheese, whitefish, egg salad, matzo ball soup, and pastrami. Vegan whitefish and pastrami? Look, I'm all for being inclusive, I really am. But there are some things, no matter how much you want to do them, you shouldn't. Take skydiving. I don't care how much you want to feel free and jump out of a plane unencumbered by a parachute. You just shouldn't. It's a stupid idea. So is vegan whitefish. Vegan pastrami is an even worse idea. These foods shouldn't exist. If you make a decision to not eat animal products, I fully support you. However, you need to accept the consequences of your decision and get to a place where you're okay with never eating another pastrami sandwich. Look, I say the same thing to people who quit drinking, like myself, and consume non-alcoholic beer. Every time I crack open a Heineken Zero, there's a little voice in the back of my head whispering, "What are you even doing, Sawtooth? Just drink tea or water." Yes, for the meat eaters among us, the closed Jewish deli had all of the regular meaty versions of whitefish, pastrami, and other traditional Jewish foods. But the presence of the vegan versions was an offense and insult to tradition. To those of you who are angry at me for saying these things and think I'm evil and twisted, like Darth Vader, I say to you, search your feelings. You know it to be true. If searching your feelings is too painful, I'll give you some evidence for my position. Consider Katz's Delicatessen, the most famous Jewish deli in the United States, and probably the world, established in 1888. Go to their website. You know what you're not going to see? Vegan pastrami, vegan whitefish, vegan eggs. You know why? Katz's Delicatessen understands the importance of tradition and knows there are some things you just shouldn't do or change. This is why they've been in business for 137 years. To go along with the fake vegan whitefish and pastrami, the closed Jewish delis seemed constructed, targeted, and artificial. More like a social media campaign than a restaurant focused on serving the most authentic Jewish foods. The physical space that the closed Jewish deli set up in used to belong to a much beloved cafe. When the space was a cafe, it was nicely and neutrally decorated and appointed. Red brick, dark wood, and earth-toned paints. Nothing too flashy, hipstery, or gimmicky. When the now closed Jewish deli renovated the cafe space, they made some misguided and truly garish interior design choices, including removing or painting over much of the natural wood, installing white subway tile to evoke the feeling of a New York City subway, and painting the walls blue and white, the colors of the Israeli flag. Instead of feeling organic or authentic to the small space, these design elements felt like they were conceived and constructed specifically for envisioned advertising and social media campaigns. People can feel when something is engineered versus authentic. Again, let's look at Katz's Delicatessen. What's their decor? Wood, earth tone paints, and simple linoleum floors. Katz's doesn't need to convince you through their interior design choices that they are an authentic Jewish deli. Their food does all of the convincing. Instead of undertaking extensive renovations designed to evoke a feeling or appeal to a specific demographic, the closed Jewish deli would have been far better off leaving the previous decor in place and focusing their resources and energy on developing a menu of traditional, authentic Jewish foods. If they had done this, the rest would have taken care of itself. As I said at the start of this reflection, I wanted the closed Jewish deli in Northampton to succeed. I wanted to love it. Again, if you liked the deli and enjoyed their food, I'm happy you enjoyed it, and I am truly sad this place had to shut its doors. So where does this leave us? What are the lessons here? Don't mess with tradition. If you're going to serve authentic food, by golly, accept that you don't need to please all of the people all of the time. Sorry, my vegetable-loving friends. That means no vegan pastrami. Less focus on image and attracting customers through design. Focus on the food, and the people will come, and keep coming back. Look at Katz's Delicatessen, in business for almost 150 years. All this writing about food has got me hungry. I'm going to go to my chest freezer and get myself a big, chewy egg bagel from New Jersey, of course. All right. There you have it. That is my essay, Geshlossen, on the closing of a Jewish deli. Now, all of you out there who speak Yiddish, Geshlossen is the Yiddish word for it's closed. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't speak Yiddish. So I don't know. Maybe somebody who does speak Yiddish, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to correct me, that's fine. You can do that. Yeah, believe it or not, that was a difficult reflection / essay, whatever you want to call it, to write. Like I said at the start of the reading, I truly feel bad that this Jewish deli was not able to last more than 6 months. And when they posted on Facebook that they were closing, I saw a number of comments to me that did not reflect the reality I experienced. And so much so, I felt compelled to write that reflection. Again, I understand taste is subjective, right? Both literal taste in terms of food and drink, and sort of more, I don't know how you call it, metaphorical taste, like taste in art or taste in music or what have you. I guess that's not metaphorical. Here I am not knowing English or how to speak, but anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, all these things are subjective, but I do think I understand why that Jewish deli did not succeed. Like I said in the essay, when I saw the place and I walked in there and I ate there the things I talked to you about, like, immediately came to mind. I just had an unsettled feeling that something wasn't right there. And when I was talking to my 15-year-old daughter, Space Unicorn, about the place closing, I was asking her thoughts. Mind you, I hadn't told her anything about how I felt about it. I sort of said to her, "Oh, did you hear that the Jewish deli closed? What do you think about that?" And her opinion was that the whole thing felt like it was set up for Instagram. Like the restaurant was a meme or something. And I thought that was an interesting confluence with my own feelings about the image that the restaurant was portraying. Right? All of the blue and white paint, trying to broadcast really hard, we're a Jewish deli. And like I said in the essay, I really do strongly believe that if you just make the food authentically, serve the food, and focus on the food, you don't need to do all of that other stuff, right? It's window dressing. It's unnecessary. And again, I really believe people can see through that, and I found it unsettling, and I could never sort of feel like that was a place that was an authentic Jewish deli. I'm sorry. And again, if the proprietors are listening to this, I really am sorry that, your establishment closed. I'm not taking any pleasure in this at all. But I did want to share my thoughts about it. Maybe they could help somebody else who's thinking about opening a restaurant or thinking about, taking that space and maybe even attempting another Jewish deli in there. I don't know. Because Jewish delis are awesome. Like, again, to talk about Katz's Delicatessen, if you've ever eaten there, right? That place is fucking amazing. Some of the best food you've ever had. Enormous portion sizes. They serve New York style bagels. Right, and if you go in there for lunch, you get so much food, you probably don't need to eat again for a month. You can be like a snake. I highly recommend a trip down to New York City to go visit Katz's Delicatessen. You got to do it. Okay. Well, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to say about this. So, a couple other things you can do. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and you want to tell me about it, you can share your feedback with me through email, softservepodcast@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on our Facebook page, on our Instagram account. I occasionally post on TikTok. TikTok, motherfucker. Yeah, any of those places. I'll see your comments and your feedback, and I might even read it here on the next episode that I do. Okay? Love the feedback. Give me the feedback. Okay. The other thing you can do to help us out, obviously, is if you're hearing this for the first time and you're not following, or you're hearing this again, and you haven't followed us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, motherfucker. Follow us on those places, okay? Yeah, we're on X, but I don't like X. I don't really post on X that much. You can follow us there. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't think much happens on Blue Sky, honestly. It's supposed to be the sort of anti-Twitter. Or anti-X, sorry. But, I don't know, nothing ever seems to happen there. Maybe it's just the algorithms. I don't know. We're also on Threads. There's too many things. We're on too many things. It's taking me 5 minutes just to list them all. But anyways, you can find us on any of those places and interact with us, okay? Oh, YouTube as well. These episodes auto-publish to YouTube. So you can go on YouTube if you want and watch these things and leave comments too. Okay? All of our episodes are on YouTube. All right. I really do think that's everything. I want to, again, say thank you for listening. You know, in my mind, I want to say I love you, but I don't know if I love you. I guess do I? What is even love? How about I have a strong affinity for you, our dear listeners? I mean, I'm here. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to start showing up more, so I think we're at least in the strong affinity universe of feelings towards each other. Okay? Maybe at some point we'll get back to being able to genuinely say I love you. But I'm not there yet. And if you listen to this podcast, you know it's not easy for me to say I love you. Those are powerful words. I love you. I'm not saying that to you. I'm just repeating the words. They are powerful, powerful words. And I don't say them lightly. Okay. You know, she's not here, but I can sort of see a phantom and hear a phantom stomping Jen saying to me, wrap it up. You're drawing this out. You're dragging it on for no reason. I guess that's true. Maybe that's because I do love you and I don't want to leave you. I don't know. What I do know, this has been the longest wrap-up to a podcast episode I've done in a long while. So, there you go. All right, well, you know it's really over when I say my sign-off phrase. And if you know my sign-off phrase because you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you can say it with me, okay? We'll count down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bye now.
This world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road.